Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're back at our Corsicana project we've got going on here. This is a shop combo living square footage with some bonus storage on this build. 2,000 square foot living and a very large shop. So we're gonna get back in here, kind of do a walkthrough on some of our framing, show you how some of the progress we made. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get it going. So as you guys might recall, we were on this project before. I was talking some of the details of how we wrap these steel columns. As you can see now, we've got all this zip system is doing its work, enclosing all of our wall system here that we've got for the living square footage. We've got a different style of framing on the living side than we do our shop side, which it'll be a little more clear now that you can see it in its more completed state. We've been in here doing a little bit of air sealing as well with all of the tape, and you can see we've got our termination here at the bottom, which I really like. It's a little bit dirty now because the rain and all that stuff that came in here, but you can see this is our liquid flashing and how we do this detail. We just tape this off and they apply the liquid flashing to the bottom, and they peel back that masking tape back off of there, and we got a nice clean straight edge. This is how we seal the bottom to the concrete with the zip system, making it a real good termination point with the liquid flashing. That's one of the great things I think that comes along with the zip system is the liquid flashing, because as you can see, this stuff you can pretty much use in a variety of situations. So we like the liquid flashing. We also like the tape. Here we're doing a variety of air sealing up here, but I showed you guys this would be probably a little more complicated area because our porch went up above where our other main framing went in the previous video. And we've got the zip, which is going all the way up through the bottom purlins and touching almost our roof panel up there. So it's a little more difficult when we're doing the hybrid steel frame and we don't have the zip system on the roof as well. So now if you really wanted to do this in a real tight air sealed way, you would more adapt to like our black gold barndominium style, how we're using the zip system and doing the monopoly framing, which you could have done here. It would have cost quite a bit more money, but that would have been the next best thing. I'm really enjoying the feel of this big porch we've got for the entryway of really this is the side porch. There's gonna be a private porch area over there for the master bedroom. We're gonna take you guys in through the side because this was the way we came in. Off of the side porch, this is where we are gonna have like a dining area here with a lower ceiling. And this will lead into where you access the owner suite there. And you've got this large kitchen where you have this continuous vault that goes all the way up to like a 26-foot peak that we've got going all the way up there. We got a little simple accent window there, which decoratively looks good, but it's gonna bring in a little bit of natural light as well. Now looking at this, it always feels good to get this stuff enclosed because you really get a feel once you get this framing done for the use of space that you have. This is gonna be your living area. Before we go too far, I wanna show you, this is our front porch where you'll see this as you come up. You've got a decorative gable accent here, which mimics what we did on the other side. You'll also see this shear wall that we built here, which goes all the way up. And you can see how this design creates a little bit of complexity with building a barndominium, so to speak, because you can see I've got some dead spaces up here that you can see my zip goes all the way up. And then I got another created ceiling below, which all that will get covered with soffit. Now you won't be able to see that later, but there is another accent window that is going to be in that space. That is something that is more for aesthetics than it is anything. But we needed to complete our air barrier, so we've got that going all the way up to the top. and then we did our porch after the fact. This is our 2x6 studded wall. That's how we treated it. It goes all the way up to the very top. Again, more of that termination that we're using there at the bottom. What is this paper we're using up there? What is that?
No, that's the flashing. It's just colored.
Oh, okay.
It's the underside of that metal flashing.
I thought it was that paper rollout.
That's tan.
Using brown paper.
I basically pulled every piece of coral
Masking paper
that we had at the shop, and we're using multiple colors.
Okay. Well, that was one area I was concerned about. I don't know if you can see it from this side, because...
Yeah, you can see the zip from in here.
Oh, there's the zip.
Yeah, so you see we put this on so it doesn't ever leak.
Yeah, so that was the spot. We got this valley that comes down, and it's going to drain right there, and I just wanted to have a little extra protection for the valley. Well, I mean, the water's going to move here, but it's going to land there, and if you are going to have a leak, it's going to travel, and that would be your spot. So we put the zip there. So, no, I mean, I think we're about 80 or 90% there with dealing with the problems of this design, but we got a little further to go.
So this is a little bit different style build than probably you've seen majority of our builds. You know, it's got kind of some different cut up roof lines. You know, the way the garage ties in, it creates a big valley that we've got to kind of contend with here. And you can see this up above here. And then, you know, you come inside and you can see we've got this big vaulted living area, but the way it's designed, you're only seeing one side of the vault, and you're seeing, you know, a little bit of the downside, but it gives you a kind of real big open room here. This is all your living space here. But with the steep roof pitch too, you get a big attic space for all your mechanicals. And then you also gain the flexibility of having this big flex room up there because you have such a steep 10, 12 roof pitch, which is a pretty cool feature, being able to frame that out and be able to use that as a, you know, it's like a 600 square foot, I guess, flex type space that we're gonna have there. But you can see the valleys that we had to create here, which kind of added some complexities on the steel framing, but also on our air sealing and flashing methods, because that's an area that could potentially leak over time. So really had to take some good steps there to make sure it was, you know, everything was real tight, sealed good, so we didn't have any chance of leaks.
As we come into here, we have a little hallway which leads us to 2 different bedrooms. I kind of did a little walkthrough before showing you guys this, but you got natural light off the front of the house, a nice little cozy bedroom with a walk-in closet. We've got a Jack and Jill style bath. So we'll have a vanity here, standard tub shower combo with your toilet in that area, which is always nice if you got a shared bathroom area, because you could have one person using the restroom here while you have an open vanity for brushing teeth or whatever. So there's also an access here as well as off of the little hallway. The ceilings in here are about 9 foot, maybe a little bit higher. I think sometimes we try to get a little bit more height out of it, but I believe we got like 9 foot ceilings in these areas. And a lot of that, when you're trying to dictate what you can get on your ceiling height, it has to do with your eave height. So with the Barndominiums, we always need a little bit more space for our roof lines because those are 8-inch purlins. So if I had 10-foot eave height, I could do a 9-foot ceiling. If I wanted a 10-foot ceiling, I got to have at least 11-foot eave height. So as we come into the owner suite, you can see we're maintaining those ceiling heights, but we have a laundry room here, which will work well for accessibility. You will have a laundry room on the passage. This is where I've got those 2x12 joists to support the storage area up above. And remember, all of our insulation, our continuity for that, it goes as one big bubble all the way around the home. So we're creating an insulated barrier that goes completely on the outer shell of the home. So like this would not be typically somewhere that we would insulate, but the client may want to do some additional insulation here for privacy or noise reduction, depends on what they're going to use that room for up above. We got a large walk-in closet here. This is 15 to 20 foot long right there. A lot of natural light here. Well, another thing that I really like about this is having this little private porch area. Now, I have one of these at my house. I will say I don't use it that much, but I also have a west sun, so I kind of despise that porch because the west is constantly shining in on that. So we try to keep it kind of closed off. But if you can work in a private porch like that, it's nice. Like if you ever wanted to set up like a hot tub or something right off of right off of your bedroom, it's really a nice touch. So coming into here, this is going to be probably our 2-sink vanity. It's going to go over here. Let me tell you this door actually, this is going to be a barn door here. So you can see we got some additional blocking that's going to go up here. And I was talking to the superintendents earlier, and I think they may have to modify some of the framing just a little bit here. Depends on the door itself, but there's sometimes some special things we need to do for blocking as well, because of the bar that runs across for the support. Here, we're gonna have a heated, jetted whirlpool tub that's gonna go here. They've got to get some power and stuff. They were just in here meeting with the client a little bit earlier today and talking about through some of these details for locations of pendant lights. And now, one thing I wanted to tell you that you can see that we've done here is all along the base here. You guys know how we do it. We put that Lexel under our seal, and we've also got the seal. We've also got the liquid flash seal at the base of the concrete, but we also have it sealed here, as you can see along the base of this with Sashco Lexel product, which is just an added touch. So we got lots of sealage. So at the seal, you know, sealer. So we got a little closet here. It's pretty neat. They'll be able to use this for like a linen closet. And then I think this is supposed to be a pocketed door. You have to frame these openings for a pocket door. So when you're doing a pocket door, there's another frame that comes out. Like that, it's like a pre-built pocket door framing, and you pretty much nail that into place. If it works out, you'll have those on site while the framer's here, but here, they're not here, so he just builds a big opening. They'll come back and set that pocket framing in there. That way they can nail their sheetrock up to that framing, and it's already set up with a track and everything for the pocket door to be attached later. Now, I showed you guys this when we were here before of how we were going to have to do some special things up above there. And you can see now how we had to frame our zip system down. So, you know, when you're building certain designs and you're doing a hybrid where you got some different shapes you're dealing with, sometimes it means you got to do some unconventional things. Here, we tried to do a lot of things to help make good decisions so that we could create good airtight seals, as well as preventative measures to make sure that we didn't have any kind of water issues. So we're doing a lot of that up here. I might be able to show you a little bit more closer when we go upstairs. So let's head back around. I want to show you this other section. So coming in here, we got another little access point, which is actually, it's wide. This is a pretty wide open area, so you don't feel super cramped like a bunch of hallways either. But this will be a nice little walk-in pantry, a little bit bigger than your corner style pantry. So this will be a clear walk-through pantry where you can build your shelves and adjustable measures there. And then I've got a little utility room. I think I've got another pocket door here, which this is why this looks so funny right now, because this has to stay open. You can see we built a little header that goes up above there, allowing for that pocket door frame to fit into this space. They'll come set this into place when those frames come in. Now, pocket doors, there's a lot of options. Like you can really step it up. They got some heavy duty pocket doors where you can really get something that's a little more substantial, Otherwise, your typical pocket doors, you're losing a little bit of stability. This is why we have the headers here. The sheetrock, you lose some nailable surfaces too. Like if you're trying to hang pictures on the wall, you can't really do that because you need your door to come in and out. So there are some vulnerable areas when you're putting pocket doors. So if you're doing it on a closet wall, that's where a lot of times I don't recommend it, because you're trying to hang stuff. That's not as good. So let's go out to the shop and you'll see a little bit more of what we did here. Now in our shop area, you can see this is probably where our hot water heater is going to go, or our water heater, because a lot of people get onto you for saying hot water heater. So why do you need to heat hot water? It's just a habit. Sometimes you say stuff, but this is going to be our water heater location, and we do have an access door which will step off to the back. And the client's been doing a lot of cleanup back there. You can see right now how this little wooded area, how nice that's going to be once they get all that completed. I want to show you this little spot. This is some added bonus storage under the stairs. Usually when we have a set of stairs that we're building for accessibility to an attic, in this case, or bonus storage, we've got bonus storage on the stairs. So as you can see, we look in here. Now this ended up being a little different than we thought, so he's gonna he made these a little bit wider, so you can see my concrete actually stepped out a little bit. There was some things with that, but this is our air sealed wall. Now sometimes when they go to air sealing, they keep going, like they do things like, or maybe they liked being in this room, so they just kept sealing this whole entire room. And I've got air sealing here, so this wasn't necessarily required, but the guys, like I said, once they get the tape in and liquid flashing, they just keep going. But that wall for sure is a complete air sealed wall. How it goes all the way up to the top in the shop area. This is the break wall between living and shop. And this is the point where, as you might have noticed, we've got the roof on now. This is something that wasn't done last time we were here. So that roof becomes part of our breaking point for that air barrier that we're creating, building barndominium for our steel hybrid, our hybrid steel barndominiums. Now, there are more complex ways to go about that. Like I said, we've done with the black gold. You could add the zip system. But here, let me show you some of this bonus storage that we're doing up here. This could be finished to whatever measure somebody wanted to go, but I like this. This is the way this turned out. You can see we had to build a little tunnel coming into this space. Some of this has to do with the way that we had to go about building this vaulted area. I had a purlin that was running across here to this point, and they actually had to cut this purlin to create this opening, and they also added the support to maintain that here in this spot. So the idea with this is to create this little tunnel so it gives headroom to walk through. Now, this little vault has a lot of character. I mean, you can see we've got this straight vault up here like an A-frame. It really, for the design, gives you a pretty neat little space here. If this had a lookout, that would be pretty neat to be able to look out over the main living room. It would really make this place feel a lot bigger too. But this is a 600 and something square foot, maybe 650 bonus storage. We got 2x12 floor joists with our Advantech subfloor system, which this is a 3/4 inch tongue and groove. Advantech, I recommend use this as well as the foam sealer that we use for all the joints. That's really nice, and you have a squeak-free guarantee if you use that and you use it properly. So the Advantech system, we've actually used this on our black gold project. You guys have maybe seen us do it there, as well as most of all of the projects over the years. We've used Advantech, but we really covered it in depth, and we gave you guys a lot of pointers as to how to install that. If you hadn't seen that video, maybe reach back and look at that. We'll put a link up in the top. But you can see these are our sleeper studs. You guys might have heard me mention sleeper studs a lot in the past. This is what, when I say sleeper studs, I'm talking about a 2x4 that's being attached to our purlins from underneath. Now, sometimes when we're trying to create decking on the top side of the purlins, we'll put sleeper studs up there and we'll put our zip system on top of that. Now that just adds a whole nother level of an air barrier as well as protection. Now, how do we deal with condensation? How do we deal with that when it comes to the steel? You guys that's been following the channel for a while know what we do. On this scenario, we will use closed cell foam. That's what we use. We'll spray, and we'll actually spray the underside of this, as well as all this steel gets hit with closed cell foam before we add open cell underneath that. So we got two actually different applications that we're doing. We like the closed cell foam for the density that it provides. It gives us a real dense product that keeps that kind of like a cooler does. It keeps that condensation from happening. Or maybe you're holding your can of drink of your choice and you're trying to keep that condensation off your hand. Same thing here. It's like a koozie. You hit that with the insulation. It keeps that changing temperature from the interior to the outside from going back and forth. Now for open cell, the reason why we use that is like in our walls where we've already accomplished an air barrier and a thermal break, we'll use the open cell. It's a little more porous, so it's not as dense, not as expensive per square foot, but we like to fill the cavity with the open cell because that creates no place for air to exist, to permeate and to just sit. So that's why a lot of people like to fill the cavity. So our 2x6 studded walls get filled when you have zip system with open cell foam, and that gets shaved back. Now we do hit the metal, we hit the steel with the closed cell first, and then we add the open cell so that we can achieve our R factor, our remaining R factor, and to make sure we're getting proper R factor upon the roof. This is the other spot I wanted to show you guys real quick, if I can. I'm gonna climb through. So this was an interesting little spot in the design, which I can point out a little bit better from the outside, but we had to frame this into this spot out of our lumber instead of using steel here. We just did this. We built this little wall to keep the zip constant and to have a continuous wall system that had the zip system. To have the continuous zip system for the wall, because this is technically part of your wall. And at first the wood framers were like, well, can't you guys just do steel there and put your metal panels there? Well, that wouldn't be zip system. So what I wanted to do, and you can see it from the underneath side over there, is to have a certain amount of zip under the base of that as well, because here's what's going on. Let me show you a bigger picture out here. With this roof line, I've got this main ridge from the shop that's tying into this ridge, and I got one big valley that got created here. So all of this water flow is going to be coming down right here. So not only do we have our panels, but we added a lot of additional valley metal that we used in these spots, mainly for added protection. So you're going to have kind of two layers of metal there. So you have your roof as well as you have this undersheeting. Now it doesn't look that pretty from underneath, but this is going to provide us a lot of extra protection. And then when you get over here to this side, that's going to dump out over that other little area. It's a little unconventional for us to have to create some of these added protections, but this is something we're doing when we have valleys. I want to show you another little spot. Similar situation here. This is on the side porch. I've got a valley that comes down. We've got our purlins, and we've got this added protection right here where you can see this sheet. Well, this is just all extra, like valley flashing is what we did here. This is what we decided to do. Some of this we just pulled from some of our stock, and we created this because it's not something that like you necessarily charge a lot of extra money to do this. It's just like a little extra work that we're doing for added provision or protection from having any problems down the road. And so all of the underneath side of this is going to get closed cell. We've got a little more air sealing to do along this wall. This is the wall that I really didn't like that much that I mentioned. But if you see, they've got the zip system coming up past my porch underneath side over there. And it's going to end up being sealed off pretty good. At this point, this is all going to be our mechanical area. So we end up putting a lot of the HVAC is all going to be stemmed and ran from this area. So we're looking forward to getting a lot of that laid out. You'll have another little accessible point right here, which I'm sure they'll be able to run their ducting for the master bedroom right here without having to do too much. So that'll reach right over top of that. And we always try to put a little bit of plywood down for where all the mechanical stuff's going to go. Nothing structural here. This is just for walking. This is more structural for our actual bedroom. This could be finished off, this bonus storage could be finished off later to a full usable living space. And we're talking about maybe presenting an option to the client where we can go ahead and duct a vent into this main room, maybe a vent or two into this main room for air conditioning. That way it's already done without having to necessarily zone it. Maybe they want to go ahead and climate control all of this. That way it's already done. So that's something that we're talking about. I think would be wise to maybe go ahead and make that preparation for them now. Now, what better than having all this beautiful barndominium than having a huge, like over 2,000 square foot shop. I just want you to get a feel for the space because this is one of the larger shops probably that we've presented to you guys. You can see there's a difference in framing style here. We're not trying to do a zip system here. We're trying to cover more square footage with a wall system that we're going to do here. So this is going to have your purlins exposed, but we are going to do the minimum here of insulation, which is going to be that thermal break I was talking about using closed cell foam. That's what we cover all of this interior with, is a closed cell foam. So that just kind of takes the edge off. That 1 inch of closed cell may help us like 10 to 15 degrees in the shop, but that little difference might make it a little more bearable when it's 90 degrees outside. You can come in there, it's more like 80. So I always recommend to people, if you're wanting to air condition in your shop, you might want to add a little more insulation. So that's something I would recommend, especially if you're trying to get it down to like 70 degrees or you're trying to convert it to a living room or something like that. Not really meant for that. That's not what this space is for, but it does take the edge off to add this insulation. You can see we continue our overhangs all the way around on our shop areas, just like we do the house, so it kind of all ties together. And on the outside, all of it looks very similar. So once it's all said and done, but you can see it's a lot different on your framing for the wall systems. One other thing I want to point out is, especially where we do the living quarters, this is a practice that we do. You can see these horizontal braces. Now, when we leave these bays open so that they can be framed out of wood framing, a lot of people are like, how are you getting your shear strength for your main roof whenever you remove this whole section out. And these horizontal braces actually help us accomplish that, because you can see I've got a brace point that goes from there back to that eave purlin at the top. And I've got that on each side. And that means that I've got a support that's literally inside of 8 foot from each other. So that eave purlin is no concern for wall bracing if I am to put a wall brace, a full wall there, which is supported from underneath in a vertical sense for wood framing. So that's how we achieve that. We also do that in the living areas, which gives us a lot of additional shear strength. And one last thing, you can see now we have the zip system here on these windows. This is our method that we're going through to accomplish that. One last thing I'll tell you here on the windows for over the shop area, because this is a little bit different specifications than what we do on the interior. I want you to take note, because you can see how we are putting the zip around these windows, but the way our steel frame guys are doing this, we are actually making that zip flush with our purlins. So they do this by taking some base angle and insetting that a little bit, 1/2 inch, allowing that zip to fit flush. That way they can come terminate around that. Now, the advantage for that is when I put my spray foam, it's not going to push out those wall panels as we attach that around there, and it's going to give me that same consistent tight flashing around that window that I get on my living areas. So that's something you may want to consider doing if you're building a barndominium, and I'm not doing it. You might want to consider making provision for that, and adding a little bit more protection around your windows. So we like to do this. We have had problems in the past where windows can leak, and that's usually the trouble. Like if you, and mostly we learn about this from so many people that follow our group page on Facebook, who are constantly having windows and door leaks and all kinds of stuff. So, we don't just do things because we want to just imagine new things to do. Like, these are things that we do because these are real problems. They can be real concerns when it comes to having issues down the road. And we're not perfect. Like, we've had our own problems, but we try to take care of that as well. But it's just a matter of evolving to it and making sure that you're coming up with good systems to add protection where you need to. So this was a spot that I showed you guys before on the last time we were out here at this Corsicana project. And that was a funny little area right there that I had brought out. As you can imagine, this roof line right here is over the living room area, and we've got a valley that's coming down right over top of this roof. All of the water from that valley is going to dump out right here in this spot. So this was something that we wanted to be pretty mindful of. Also, that little triangular spot that's under my soffit there, we had to bring that zip system on around. This was something that was a little unconventional than we normally do, because it was just different, So I'll show you the underneath side. You'll be able to see a little bit better our zip and how we integrated that into the ceiling here. I don't know how well you can see this, but I've got one big valley that runs all the way down on this side. And then underneath here, you can see we added the zip system right here for some extra protection. Where this spot is, that's where all that water is going to be running right here. This was something I felt like it was something we needed to give attention to, because number one, if you're going to have leaks, you can have leaks in anywhere you got penetrations. You got valleys, you got fireplace penetrations, you got boot jacks, you got anywhere you got holes, basically. But your valleys is a bad spot for roofs, because you're directing all the water to one spot. So that's something that you want to really hyper focus on, and that's something that we were definitely focusing on there. Make sure we're not creating some kind of maintenance issue down the road. Okay, well that concludes our walkthrough for the hybrid steel frame on this Corsicana project. And we've got a lot more to come, a lot more progress coming along. Our guys were here this morning meeting with the clients, sort of talking through some of the electrical and probably some of the trades, as well as just getting familiar with what's going to happen next. And that's always exciting time on a project like this, when you can literally walk through it and sort of gain your composure about moving forward, which is really nice. So we'll be making a lot of progress coming on this build, and you guys will be able to kind of follow us along too, because we've sort of established a little bit of updates here. And if you missed our first one while we were doing the framing, you might want to check back and watch that video too. We got a lot more to come. We got a lot more updates to come. If you guys are looking for layouts, check it out on our bestbarndoplans.com. And we've got barndoquote.com if you're looking to get a quote for square footage and really try to simulate a budget. We've got other stuff out there too, where you can get a planning strategy. We've got a PDF file that you can direct download. If you go to our linktree.com/Texas Best Construction, you can access that there. You can click directly on the link if you go to Instagram and click the link in the bio. It's all up there too. So a lot more to come. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm Josh Helm, wishing you all the best. Thanks for watching. Texas Best.